Have you ever tried simply holding your breath for 15 seconds just to see how it feels? This might sound like a small thing, but it can be surprisingly revealing. If you find yourself gasping for air well before you hit the 15-second mark, it's natural to wonder if that's just part of growing older. Yet many people over 65 discover that struggling with such a brief breath hold can signal lungs that are aging too fast, and that could lead to a greater risk of fatigue, reduced mobility, and diminished independence. The good news is that, just like we can strengthen our muscles, we can also nurture and support our lungs in ways that enhance everyday comfort, vitality, and quality of life. You've probably heard friends and even healthcare professionals say, shortness of breath is just part of getting older. But imagine if you could climb a flight of stairs without that sudden, breathless feeling. Picture yourself walking around the block or tending your garden without having to pause to catch your breath. These everyday moments add up to a more active lifestyle, and that's important for everything from preventing falls and maintaining healthy blood pressure to enjoying the little things, like a lively conversation with grandchildren or participating in a class at your local senior center. Why does this matter so much? When our lungs aren't functioning at their best, our bodies and minds feel it in surprising ways. You might feel tired when performing simple tasks, notice fogginess in your thinking, or miss out on social activities because you're worried about keeping up with everyone else. In contrast, supporting lung function can improve stamina, lift your mood, and even sharpen your mental clarity. Addressing lung health is not just about avoiding hospital visits, it's about embracing an active lifestyle that sustains vitality well into our later years. Over the next few moments, we'll explore practical strategies for caring for your lungs. We'll uncover misconceptions like the notion that declining lung capacity is inevitable past 65, and discover steps you can take to slow or even reverse that decline. You'll learn ways to incorporate simple breathing exercises that can help you pass that 15-second breath hold test with greater ease. You'll see how small lifestyle adjustments can make a measurable difference in daily comfort. And you'll understand how to keep an eye on those early warning signs so that you can address potential issues before they become obstacles. As a preventive care specialist, I've seen how focusing on this often overlooked aspect of health can change seniors' lives. I'm not here to replace your doctor's advice, but rather to share insights and practical actions that many find valuable. These tips are drawn from observation, general research, and the real experiences of older adults who've managed to improve their breathing capacity and overall well-being. Before we dive in, take a moment to tune in to your own body. Are there times when you wish you had more stamina? Have you caught yourself avoiding activities you once loved because they leave you winded? This conversation might be the key to overcoming those challenges. By the end, you'll have simple techniques you can test out right away. And in case you're wondering, these suggestions don't require fancy equipment, a gym membership, or a dramatic overhaul of your daily routine. They're easy to adapt to various fitness levels, and you can tailor them to your comfort or any physical limitations you may have. So if you're curious about how that 15-second breath hold relates to your health, or if you've been looking for ways to boost your lung capacity, you're in the right place. Let's explore how to spot the signs of aging lungs and, more importantly, how to keep them healthier for longer. Whether you're still traveling the world, staying active in your garden, or simply enjoying time with loved ones, stronger lungs can help you keep doing what you love without the constant worry of running out of breath. Let's begin by challenging a common assumption about breathlessness in older adults. Then we'll move through a few misconceptions and uncover practical steps you can take each day to support your lungs. By the end of our conversation, you'll feel more informed, more confident, and better prepared to breathe easy. Literally, when many of us notice breathlessness, especially after climbing stairs or walking uphill, there's a tendency to blame it on age. We tell ourselves it's just the new normal, something to put up with. But what if that assumption is holding you back? It's time to take a closer look at the truth behind breathless moments and discover how you can address them in a proactive, sustainable way. First, consider this widespread misconception. The idea that once you reach your 60s or 70s, you have no choice but to accept that reduced lung capacity is an unavoidable part of life. Betty, 72, used to believe exactly that. She would climb a short flight of stairs, stop halfway, and wait for her breathing to settle. Eventually, she avoided stairs altogether, worried that she'd embarrass herself by huffing and puffing around younger folks. Her confidence took a hit, and the cycle of avoidance actually made her lungs weaker over time. Betty's turning point came when she mentioned her breathlessness to a friend who recommended gentle breathing exercises. At first, Betty doubted their usefulness. After all, she figured, how could a few breathing drills a day reverse years of decline? But she gave them a try, starting with something called pursed lip breathing. She'd inhale through her nose slowly and exhale through pursed lips, as though blowing out a candle. Within 2 weeks, Betty noticed a real change in how winded she got when climbing stairs. Over the next few months, she introduced light aerobic exercise, short walks around the neighborhood, pacing herself by focusing on her exhalations. Surprisingly, she could hold her breath for 15 seconds with ease, something she couldn't do before without feeling anxious and needing a big gulp of air. This shift also had an emotional impact on her. She felt more confident in social situations, more willing to explore her local botanical gardens, and less dependent on others to help her carry groceries or fetch items from her upper floor. Stories like Betty's highlight the evidence-based view that targeted breathwork, even in your late 60s or 70s, helps strengthen the muscles involved in breathing and can restore a sense of control over daily activities. One practical approach is to set aside 5 minutes each morning for deep breathing. Sit in a comfortable chair, shoulders relaxed, and consciously breathe in through your nose for a slow count of 4, hold for 1 or 2 counts, then exhale through your mouth for another slow count of 4. This helps expand the airways, improves oxygen exchange, and gently exercises your respiratory muscles without any strain or special equipment. The physical benefit is obvious. More oxygen means better endurance for daily tasks. But there's also an emotional reward. People report feeling calmer and more grounded when they practice these slow, controlled breaths, as if releasing stress and anxiety with each exhalation. Anxiety often accompanies shortness of breath, worrying about not getting enough air. Breaking that cycle can boost confidence and encourage a more active lifestyle. If you're skeptical, try it for yourself. Right now, or after this video, take a couple of minutes to do several rounds of slow inhales and exhales. Notice how your body feels. Is there a slight relaxation of your shoulders? Does the tension in your neck or upper chest ease? These small changes add up. Over days, weeks, and months, you might see an improvement in how long you can hold your breath, or how easily you can walk up a slight incline. Gradual progress can be incredibly motivating. Remember that it's always a good idea to discuss new exercise or breathing routines with a healthcare professional if you have serious health concerns. We're not aiming to push you into strenuous activities that might aggravate existing conditions. Instead, the idea is to explore small, manageable steps that empower you to take charge of your breathing, rather than dismissing breathlessness as unavoidable. If you'd like, take a moment to think about a daily habit you already have, like putting the kettle on in the morning or waiting for the microwave to finish. That's a perfect window to insert a brief breathing routine. Over time, these little pockets of practice can make a surprisingly big difference. Moving forward from the idea that age automatically equals breathlessness, let's dive into another misconception: that your overall environment and daily habits have no real impact on how your lungs age. The fact is, your home setting, the air you breathe, and small lifestyle choices all play an important role in how well your lungs function. Consider Tim, a 70-year-old who spent most of his adult life as a school teacher. When he retired, he looked forward to quiet afternoons reading at home. His breath had always been decent. He used to coach the school's chess team and occasionally enjoyed gentle hikes. But after a few years of retirement, Tim noticed he was wheezing more than usual, even though he hadn't developed a cold. He assumed it was simply because he was getting older. One day he failed to hold his breath for even 10 seconds before feeling a tightness in his chest. Concerned, he decided to observe his habits more closely. Tim realized that in retirement he was spending far more time indoors, often with the windows shut. He lived near a busy road and thought keeping the windows closed would reduce noise. However, without proper ventilation, dust and other irritants built up. He also had a beloved cat that shed a lot of fur. Over time, small particles in the air contributed to his wheezing. Tim spoke with a preventive care counselor who suggested simple steps. Air out the house daily, invest in a basic air purifier, vacuum more regularly to remove dust and pet dander, and add a few indoor plants known for improving air quality. Within weeks, Tim noticed less wheezing, and over the course of a couple of months, his breath holding improved to over 15 seconds. This might sound almost too straightforward, but there's good reason behind it. Our lungs are constantly exposed to the environment we live in. Every breath we take carries external particles and pollutants into our airways. While a youthful set of lungs might handle these irritants more robustly, older lungs can become more reactive, leading to repeated bouts of irritation that gradually reduce capacity. Luckily, there are practical ways to adapt your living space. Keeping indoor humidity at a comfortable level can help. Overly dry air can irritate airways, while excess humidity might encourage mold growth. Regularly changing filters in your air conditioning or heating system also helps maintain cleaner airflow. On nice days, opening windows for even 15 minutes can let in fresh air and reduce indoor stagnation. Adding plants like spider plants, peace lilies, or snake plants can further help clean the indoor environment, though you'll need to ensure they're pet-friendly if you have animals. These adjustments are not about sterilizing your environment to an extreme. It's about recognizing that your immediate surroundings can either support healthier lungs or contribute to avoidable complications. When combined with gentle breathing exercises, an improved indoor environment offers a double benefit: physically by reducing exposure to lung irritants, and emotionally by creating a more pleasant space that feels energizing rather than stuffy. If you have a habit of burning scented candles or incense, it's worth reducing their use or switching to unscented, smoke-free alternatives. The same goes for strong household cleaners. Ventilate well when using them, or switch to milder, fragrance-free versions. This doesn't mean giving up a clean home or a cozy atmosphere. It simply means being mindful of what's in the air you're breathing and how it might affect you, especially if you already notice shortness of breath. In case you're wondering if all these changes are really worth the effort, think about how your day-to-day enjoyment might improve if your lungs functioned even a little bit better. Imagine feeling less stuffy when reading your favorite book or hosting friends without worrying about persistent coughs or wheezing. It's these small quality-of-life boosts that can motivate you to keep up these simple habits. Take a moment now to do a quick mental inventory of your home. Are there areas you rarely dust? Do you air out your rooms regularly? Could you add a few indoor plants or upgrade your air filters? Picture how making these little tweaks might improve your breathing comfort over time. If you've got questions or concerns, it's always wise to have a chat with your healthcare provider or an indoor air quality specialist, especially if you suspect something like mold. The important thing is to shift your mindset from believing that your environment doesn't matter to recognizing it can be a vital ally in supporting healthier lungs. Now that you have ideas for breathing exercises and a better indoor environment, let's explore a third critical facet of lung health: your body's overall fitness and posture. Many people assume that if they aren't working out at the gym or going for daily runs, they can't improve their lung capacity. But the reality is that your posture and gentle physical activities can do wonders for how efficiently you breathe. To illustrate this, consider Margaret, who at 68 began noticing that she was getting winded when simply walking to her mailbox and back. She chalked it up to being out of shape and resolved herself to leading a more sedentary life. One day she visited her daughter, who worked as a physical therapy assistant. Her daughter pointed out that Margaret's shoulders had begun to slump forward and her head often hung down, especially when she was sitting. This compressed her chest and lungs, limiting how deeply she could inhale. Margaret learned a simple posture correction exercise. She would sit up tall in a chair, place her feet flat on the ground, and gently roll her shoulders back and down. Then she'd imagine a string pulling the top of her head upward, aligning her spine. At first, holding this posture felt tiring. She realized just how used to slouching she'd become. But after a few weeks, her back muscles adapted. With better posture, Margaret could take deeper breaths without even thinking about it. The result was noticeable when she tried the 15-second breath hold again. Suddenly, she found it was no struggle to pass that mark, and her daily walks felt significantly easier. This highlights how posture impacts lung capacity. When your spine is aligned and your chest is open, your lungs have more room to expand. On the flip side, slouching restricts that expansion, resulting in shallow breathing, which can contribute to feeling tired or out of breath. Over the long term, shallow breathing can become a habit, reducing oxygen intake and leaving you less energetic. You don't need a rigorous workout regimen to support better posture. Gentle stretches, such as lifting your arms overhead while you inhale deeply, can help expand the chest and strengthen supportive muscles. Simple yoga poses tailored for seniors, like seated cat-cow stretches or standing mountain pose against a wall, promote proper alignment. Even taking a moment once an hour to stand up straight, roll your shoulders back, and breathe slowly in and out can bring about a noticeable change. Another aspect of physical fitness that benefits lung function is low-impact aerobic activity. Walking is a fantastic option, as are water aerobics or cycling on a stationary bike if your joints are sensitive. The key is consistency, not intensity. Start with 5 or 10 minutes a day and gradually work your way up. Focus on rhythmical breathing. Inhale for a count of 3 or 4 steps, then exhale for another 3 or 4 steps. This helps coordinate your breath with movement, building endurance over time without pushing yourself to the point of discomfort. If you face mobility challenges, chair exercises can offer a great alternative. Simple movements like seated marches or gentle arm raises can elevate your heart rate enough to engage your respiratory system. Every bit of movement helps keep your lungs active. And remember, it's not about aiming for a marathon. The goal is to keep your lungs challenged in a healthy way so they remain resilient. This also has the emotional benefit of boosting your confidence and sense of independence. There's a special kind of joy that comes from realizing you can do a bit more today than you could last week, even if it's as simple as walking a few more steps or standing tall for longer periods. Maintaining good posture and staying lightly active also helps you avoid a downward spiral of inactivity. When you avoid physical movement because it makes you breathless, you weaken your lung muscles further, making future tasks even more challenging. Breaking that cycle with small, manageable actions can be a turning point. Some seniors find it helpful to track their progress. Maybe jot down how long you can hold your breath or how far you can walk before needing to rest. Seeing those numbers improve, even gradually, can be a powerful motivator. Now might be a good time to pause and reflect on your own posture. Whether you're sitting in a chair or standing, notice how your shoulders and chest feel. Are you giving your lungs the space they need to fully expand? Simply adjusting your posture could lead to easier breathing and a more relaxed state of mind. It's one of the simplest yet most transformative changes you can make. By paying attention to these 3 aspects, breathing exercises, a cleaner home environment, and better posture and moderate activity levels, you can significantly support your lung function. Let's pull all this together with a few final reflections so you can move forward with a sense of clarity and enthusiasm. When you step back and look at it all, it's easy to see that improving lung capacity is not reserved for the young or athletic. Even if you've believed for years that breathlessness is an inescapable part of aging, or you've come to accept a certain level of fatigue in daily tasks, there is a path to better lung health that respects your body, your pace, and your personal preferences. The 15-second breath hold challenge is just a starting point. A simple test that may signal your lungs need a bit more attention. By incorporating gentle breathing exercises, cleaning up your indoor air, and maintaining good posture through manageable activities, you can give your lungs a renewed sense of vitality. Why is it worth taking action right now rather than waiting? Shortness of breath and diminished lung capacity tend to creep up gradually, often taking us by surprise when we suddenly can't do something that used to be effortless. But these issues don't have to escalate into major health scares or constant worry about leaving your home. With small strategic adjustments, you can reduce the risk of future complications and keep enjoying an active, independent life. Picture yourself 6 months from now, having built the habit of a few minutes of deep, mindful breathing each morning, maintaining a cleaner indoor environment, and practicing standing or sitting with your shoulders rolled back and your chest open. Imagine how much more comfortable everyday tasks could become, like bending down to retrieve the mail, carrying groceries, or taking a leisurely stroll with friends. Each day of consistent effort can add up to big benefits in both your physical well-being and your overall outlook. At this point, you might be wondering what to do next. Here are a few options to consider. If you're ready to try some simple breathing exercises or posture tips, set a reminder in your phone or place a sticky note somewhere you'll see it daily. If you'd like more guidance or have concerns about your specific health conditions, consider mentioning this conversation at your next medical checkup. You could also share these ideas with a friend, neighbor, or family member who might want to join you in a healthier breathing routine. Their strength in numbers and accountability can make a big difference. It's also entirely possible that you feel unsure about where to begin, especially if you have multiple health considerations or limited mobility. In that case, you could start with something as simple as observing your breath a couple of times a day. Just notice if you're breathing shallowly or if your shoulders are tense. Gently adjust yourself and take a few calming breaths. Over time, you can build on that foundation with mild exercise or more advanced techniques. Whatever your next step is, the crucial thing is not to let the 15-second breath test become a source of fear. Instead, see it as a friendly reminder to check in with yourself. If it's challenging to reach 15 seconds comfortably, now you have some tools and strategies that can help. And if you have no trouble at all, these recommendations can still keep your lungs in top shape as you continue to enjoy life. Embrace the fact that even though lungs naturally change with age, you're not powerless in this process. You can make choices that support healthy breathing and, by extension, a vibrant, fulfilling lifestyle. Stay curious, stay proactive, and remember that a small breath of fresh air, both figuratively and literally, can lead to big improvements. You deserve to face each day with enough energy and confidence to do what you love. Here's to breathing more deeply, living more fully, and feeling great along the journey. Thank you for spending this time focusing on your lung health. If you found something here that resonates with you, consider sharing it with someone who might also benefit. Your experiences could inspire a friend or family member to take charge of their own well-being. And if you feel motivated, let this be the first day of many where you approach your breath, your posture, and your environment with renewed intention. Small steps taken consistently can create a powerful momentum toward a healthier, happier life.